Hello Play the Gamers, it's Boobity2 here and welcome back to Play the Game Central, and today what I want to talk about is something which Ben actually mentioned in his pen and paper version of the zombie storyline, and that is in terms of the continuum which is within zombies. And I was playing on Nacht and Verrucht, and I did notice, I did start thinking about why the original not the original characters, but Dempsey, Richtofen, etc. are in Nacht and Verrucht, which obviously in World at War they weren't actually in that area. And I was also thinking about the Shinonuma loading screen, where, not the loading screen, but the character bios, which was in World at War. And also he gave an example in his video about Richtofen's skin in Ascension, and the fact that it is a spacesuit, and also considering Origins as well, is that, Origins is a complete cycle back to where it began, because originally what we thought, and originally what the story that we know started, was that at some point Nikolai and Takeo were captured and then they were experimented on by Richtofen, and then what happened with Dempsey is that he went to the Verrucht asylum to investigate stuff. He got captured and then he was sent to Shinonuma for further testing. At no point in that area was Dempsey, at World War One with the other three characters. That's how they first met, was in World War One, apparently, according to Origins. But the story that we know from World War and Black Ops 1 is that, Dempsey was captured at Verrucht, and that's how that started. And it is just really weird, and you have to think about it in a different way now, and they have seem to have pushed into a different form of storytelling, and you have to consider all these different things, all these different anomalies which make absolutely no sense, and you have to try to think about it in a different way, in that they are in a continual loop, they are in a continual cycle, in a circle which goes round and round and round, and obviously with the circle, when you're going around in it, you will come back to that point where you started at. And at the end of the buried Easter egg as well, Richtofen, if you go with Richtofen's side, he has essentially won, and that is pretty much the end of the storyline right there. And if you go with Max's side, then there is like a little bit of extra stuff possibly which is going to happen in the next game. And it's just, the buried Easter egg right there puts an end to the story that we know, and obviously the next map after buried is Origins, which is back to the start again, and it is very confusing and different. And the thing that which you guys have to think about now is, in the whole cycle of these maps, at some point, this is not chronological, this is not, it doesn't go Nacht, Verrucht, Shinonuma, Darice, Kino, 5, Ascension, etc. It doesn't do that entire circle. If anything, it'll be going something like Kino, then Shangri-La, then back to Ascension, then over in Darice, and these are not in one single cycle. This is not one circle which you're in. And you have this one 360 circle which you go around in, and then you come back to the beginning, and then there are maps like Origins and stuff which don't belong, seemingly, in this circle, which have no correlation to, the previous events of the circle. And there are different circles kind of going on if you, not really different circles, but you do one complete circle, and the next circle is completely different, and they if anything, they're bouncing around in the circle. They're going from the top point of the circle into the middle, and then bouncing to somewhere else, and then bouncing to another place, and bouncing to another place. And, they do have very split up memories and stuff like that, like in Ascension, when you pack a punch, they have different, completion of their memories. There's different, lots of their memories which come in at random points sometimes you forget stuff, sometimes I remember stuff, and it is very confusing, and you just have to kind of deal with that, I guess. But the thing which I really just want you guys to think about is that the zombies maps which we've played, they are not in a complete circle. There are anomalies, there are things which make absolutely no sense in terms of what we think is chronological order, and the simple answer is it's not in chronological order. It's not a complete circle. It is, if anything, it's a quarter of a circle, which then splits off into another kind of circle, and splits off into another circle, and splits off into another circle, and then eventually, like, time, if it's like a constricted kind of, if you think of it like a constricted space, then you can only do so many circles before you run out of space. And you have to go back into one of those circles and interject with those circles and all that kind of stuff. And it is just a complete mindfuck, but you're going to have to just try and think about that for a little bit. But that's all I have to talk to you about today, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, do remember to leave a like rating if you'd be so kind as to do so, and also remember to be subscribed if you have not subscribed already, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.